This is Renee Romeo of ReneeRomeo.com. As I finish up my packing for my giant move, I got to thinking that, what would happen if some of the items that I packed got shifted in the move and maybe something got broken and maybe it was kind of like a priceless piece for you, something really sentimental. What do you do with it? So today's project is really going to be to take some broken pieces and make it some kind of great artistic piece that you can enjoy for many more years to come. Now, my good friend Aaron and his family own a luxury bedding store, and he was good enough to go through his warehouse and find me some broken pieces that I can kind of incorporate into this great artistic piece. So what he's wound up sending me has been some crystals from a candle holder that broke. He sent me some napkin rings that are also broken, and they're really beautiful. They're nice bright silver, and they've got little hummingbirds to go with them. Here's a finial from a lampshade, and I have some bright silver wire that I had left over from a previous project, and I'm just going to try to coordinate all these things together to make it one cohesive piece. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm mounting everything on a canvas board. Now, this canvas board is normally used for oil paints, and you'll see it's 1 inch thick. The 1 inch thick canvas is what you want because this is going to make it look more like a museum piece versus just a simple arts and crafts DIY project. So it'll look really expensive when it's done. And then I also have a container here from a company called Deco Art. They've been kind enough to send me some paint samples, and I'm going to coordinate some of the paints that they sent me into this project as well. So let's start arranging the pieces and see how all this comes together. Now I'm gluing all these pieces down onto the canvas, and so what I'm going to do here is just simply outline with a pencil very quickly where the locations are for all these pieces. Now you see I'm transferring everything over to another piece of paper so that I can make sure that I keep these in the exact same spots that they came off of. I'm going ahead and putting a base coat onto this canvas, and I'm not going to paint the entire thing because these pieces are a little bit heavy. I want to glue them onto the canvas directly instead of actually gluing them onto the paint. I'm afraid it'll peel over time, and I want to make sure that I get a nice secure adhesion. So what I'm doing here, I just have some black paint, black craft paint, and you'll see where I've actually put my marks around these pieces. I'm just going to go ahead with my paintbrush and very just not evenly, just very casually, just kind of going through here and making sure that I'm leaving some blank areas so that when I go ahead and adhere this, it's going to adhere directly to the canvas instead of to the paint. So this is not a nice neat thing that I'm doing. I'm just coming back in and I'm making some brush strokes in here because you kind of see that on fine art pieces, and I want to make sure that this looks as expensive as possible, and it's going to give me some raised areas to actually put some decorative touches with paint over the top of it. Now while the canvas is drying, I'm going ahead and repairing all of these broken pieces that I'd like to put back together. So I'm just taking this piece and I'm actually taking off the old glue, and if you have pieces like this, you're going to do the same thing. Make sure you're using a high temperature glue gun. The high temperature glue gun is exactly what you need. Don't use a low temperature glue gun because it's not going to adhere as well over the course of time. So the canvas is nice and dry. It's been drying overnight, and it has a beautiful sheen on it that I hope you can see on camera, and you'll see some of that texturizing that I've done on the actual surface. So one mistake that I made here is not leaving a white little mark here that I needed for this little piece of crystal. So we're going to see how that adheres over time. So the thing about black is that, well, really it's too black. A lot of times in home decor, black is too harsh a color to use. It needs to be toned down just a little bit. And you can accomplish that by adding color. You can accomplish that by adding a wash over the top of it. So what I'm using today is a product from Deco Art called Satin Enamels. It's for furniture, cabinets, and more. So mine is more. And this is a color called Moss Green. Now Moss Green is a color that's going to coordinate with my guest room decor. And actually I'd really love to put this into my guest bath and have it coordinate with some of the bedding that has this moss green color in it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put some subtle highlights over the top of the black just to kind of knock it down. Now, once you open the product, it really does need a stir. So go ahead and stir that up until everything is nice and incorporated. So I have a damp paper towel. I have a round brush that I'm dipping into my paint, and you'll see the direction that I'm going in here. I'm actually looking at these raised areas on the canvas, the raised areas that I made previously with my other brush. And what I'm going to do here is just kind of hit those high areas, kind of dabbing it as I go, and then I'm just going to take the paper towel and just kind of feather this out lightly. So if you just continue on and hit all of these raised portions in the canvas, you're going to get this beautiful kind of marbling effect. And you can actually put on as much paint as you want and pull off as much paint as you want. So this is really a great process that you can manipulate however you see fit. So I love the way that this moss green paint changes the mood of this canvas. It's almost stormy looking. And look, it softens it really well against the crystals. So when you're choosing a background color, you know, try thinking about the things you're putting on top of it and seeing if you want nice sharp edges or if you'd like to soften all those edges. Now I'm finishing up the project today. It's going to go pretty quick, and so I have a high temperature glue gun with a high temperature glue stick, making sure they correspond to one another so that it's going to be a very good adhesion. And so then I also have the wire that I told you about, and all I've really done here is I've taken the sphere for the finial and I've just wrapped it around several times around this little ball. So there's a definite bottom to the finial, and so what I'm going to do, I'm just putting a dab of glue onto the bottom, and I'm just going to adhere some of the wire to that area. So I'm just going to slide it over the top and get it right directly into that dab of glue so that it holds nice and tight. And I'm just pressing on it, making sure not to put my fingers in it because I will burn the fingertips if I do that. So I'm just kind of holding it from side to side, and you'll do the exact same thing so you don't burn your fingertips. And then I'm getting a healthy dab of glue right onto the canvas. Now I really want to make sure that this is going to adhere really well. Now I'm pressing really well, and you're going to do this with any kind of object you have to glue onto your canvas. So I'm calling this piece bird flight, and so what this wire is going to represent is kind of like the busyness of a bird. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take all of my individual pieces and kind of wrap them around here and there, and I'm going to go ahead and just start gluing all of these in place, making sure that I get them nice and attached. So this means another healthy dab of glue on all these pieces because they are a little heavier. So if you have something like your grandmother's china or something like that, you know, those are a little bit lighter and you may get away with a little bit less glue. But for my purposes, I really need to make sure that I'm getting this really nice and stuck, and this wire is really pliable. So I'll be able to kind of maneuver around this as I go. Now that everything is glued in place, the last thing I need to do is touch up here and there, anywhere I see a little bit of white canvas. So all I'm doing at this point is taking a little dab of black and a little dab of the Deco Art Moss Green, and I'm just kind of mixing them together. You could do this on a plate, you could do this on this little palette thing that I have, but all I'm doing is I'm just kind of hitting here and there with a tiny brush. So once you're done, the very last thing you have to do is sign it, because this is a real work of art. So here's my little signature, and you know what? This is actually dabbing a little bit of that moss green here and there around the crystals because I needed just a little extra to kind of incorporate that moss green into my decor. And I think it looks really nice, very, very subtle. Isn't it amazing what you can do with a glue gun, a little bit of paint, a store-bought canvas, and a bunch of broken stuff? And you know what? If you've ever been in a situation where you've had some broken things, items that are really cherished to you, and I can think of like my grandmother's china, I'd be heartbroken if something happened to that. But if it did, you know, this is a way to view it every single day, get it out of the china cabinet, and really get a chance to enjoy it on a daily basis. So if you've ever encountered something like this, here's your answer on how to recycle, upcycle, and actually get it out there and have everybody enjoy it too. So this is Renee Romeo of ReneeRomeo.com. If you enjoyed this project, please let me know. And you know what? This is my very last project in the old house. So join me at the new house next time, and I'll have another great project for you. And please, while you're at it, like, subscribe, share, and follow, and I'll keep bringing you all of these great craft projects in the future. Thanks for watching. ReneeRomeo.com.